everyone, my name is Lindsay Smith, and the software I'm reviewing with you today is called RazKids. You can access it through the web or through the app on your iPad, Android, or tablet. The curriculum area is reading, and the grade level for this software is from kindergarten to grade 5. You do need to create a login when you sign into RazKids. You will need to pay for it. However, there is a free 14-day trial. Many elementary school teachers offer login access to their students. So if you're a parent at home, the software will be free for you. So once you log in, it will ask you for your student's information. So here I've created a student with the initial CD. I gave him a cute little robot emoji. And then I chose his reading level for kindergarten. So if you click on the reading room, it will take you to many different books that the student can explore. So for instance, Best Friends Q and U, the student can either listen to the story, read the story, and then answer a little quiz at the end. Once the student completes each activity, so whether they listen to it, read it, or do the quiz, they are rewarded with stars. So up here, this student has 800 stars, and I will show you later on what fun way what they can do with those stars. So for these books, there are many different books to choose from depending on the reading level, as well as they offer books in French and in Spanish. So if you click on World Languages, there is some stories in there. This software offers also poetry books, song books, and nursery rhymes. So if you click on there, you'll see Hey Diddle Diddle, Humpty Dumpty, some fiction series stories, and then topics as well. So there's lots to choose from. If you go back to reading, you can click this icon called Level Up. And this will give the student a task to get through in order to increase the reading level. So there's 63 tasks that the student needs to get through. So they'll need to listen to the story, read the story, and then answer the quiz in order to complete that one task under, for instance, animal tongues. So if you click on it, you will read the story, let's say, and you just click this arrow and you can read about animal tongues. So animals have many kinds of tongues. They use their tongues to get and eat food. So it's nice that the cursor highlights the word. So if the student is working along with a teacher or a parent, it's nice that they can highlight and the student can follow along. So as they go through reading the story, when they get to the end,
good job,
they will be rewarded with stars. So now we've just received 50 stars. And, oops. As a teacher, you're also able to assign readings to your students. So for instance, I put in this story, Big, for this student CD. So that way the student, when they log into their account, they can see certain stories the teachers want them to read. If you click on My Stats, you can see overall how many stars they've earned. If you click over to Reading, then you'll see how many books they've read, how many books they've listened to, how many quizzes they've done, how many readings they've done in the last week. So a teacher can keep track of how many times they've listened to a book, completed a quiz, or have done some readings. So it's nice to be able to monitor your students' learning by checking their reports. Now, if you click over to Badges, Once students read certain stories, then they're rewarded with badges. So for instance, we just received our first book together since we read that one story about animal tongues. So we've already received a badge. So it's nice for students to see their progress through these badges that they can win. And then it also motivates them to continue reading or continuing doing the quizzes. So for instance, they would receive this badge if they complete 8 100% quizzes in a row, which is nice. I find that this software is easy to navigate. I find that it's also engaging for the students since they get to choose a book of their liking. There are nice pictures in the stories, and during the readings, the book, the voices are nice and clear and loud, which I will show you an example of that. So if we click listen.
Bees Feed Me, written by Harriet Rosenblum. Bees are with
So the voice that reads the stories reads it nice and slowly, so it's easy for the students to follow along. So it's nice the teacher can individualize the learners. Depending on the student's reading level, the teacher can choose books that will suit that student. And then there's a way every time a student reads, listens to a story, it's uploaded in that student activity report, which is again in my stats and under reading. So as the students progress in their learning, they can start reading more challenging stories, which is nice. And then with the stars, I will show you the star zone, which is probably the most exciting part for the student. So with the stars, they can either go in and build an avatar. So they can add hair to the robot, the RazKid robot, or they can add different clothing, but you'll have to buy them. So each one is worth so many stars. So as you use up your stars, this here will be deducted. But as you read stories, listen to stories, or do the quizzes, your stars will increase again. And then you can continue on either building more avatars, or I will show you the Raz rocket after here. So you'll see under here how many stars you need to use certain things for your avatar. And then if I go back, the student can choose the Raz rocket. All right, so now we're inside the Raz rocket. So if the student chooses the star over here, it'll bring up a Raz rocket catalog. So they can go in, choose whether they'd like an alien, furniture, plants, shelf items. So let's go in and we will buy, we'll click this guy. So he's gonna cost us 300 stars. So we'll buy him, and then there he is. He's in our Raz rocket. And we'll go back in and maybe buy a shelf item. And we will get our own little Raz rocket. And there it is up on the shelf. So it's kind of neat for the kids to be able to go in, buy their little knickknacks from the catalog and fill up the room so they can see their progression that way as well. And then over here, you'll see that we started with 860 stars and now we're down to 360. But again, once the students go back in and read more stories, listen to more stories, the star area will increase. So we'll go back to the home. So the only downfall to this software that I can think of is that it doesn't correct a student with reading errors. So if the student is struggling with a word, there's no one there to encourage the student if they're working independently. However, if the student is having a hard time finding the next book or struggling with a word, and there's a teacher nearby to assist, then the program's great. But unfortunately, if the student is having a hard time with a word, there's no part where it will teach the child that word and help them move along to the next word. However, overall, I find this software engaging. I think students would learn from this software. And then I would recommend this software to any teacher or parent with a child, since it does help students learn to read. Thank you.